And we're back, I'm your host, BKP. I call it mailbox shock. Post office, mail, beware, mailbox shock. What did I tell you? I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We're the voice of rural America. Anywhere in rural America, you need to pay attention to this story because it's happening in a neighborhood near you, okay? And it's not a new ice cream shop coming to town. It is the tax appraiser, the little truck riding around that says property tax appraiser. Now, let's not be ugly about our local property tax appraiser. There's some nice people that I've met in that office, and I just do not want to go that direction. But when we collapse in America, this is for everybody. This is for everybody. Do not tune this out. If you're in Evansville, Indiana, you want to hear this. So in 2008, our state's revenue source, oh my God, I hate that. I go to these damn meetings and they talk about revenue, increasing revenue. And I'm like, when did the government become a business that increased revenue? Oh my God, I got to, 3 breaths. Okay, so tax assessors. So we collapse. What collapsed with it? The values of property. Oh my God, Department of Revenue, your Department of Revenue of your state, the funds were collapsing. They were over reporting, Mr. Governor, we just don't have the money we used to, Mr. Governor. You just have to say it that way. It's in the South. So anyhow, that's it. Yosemite Trump does that. Anyhow, seriously, so property collapse. Nobody knows how to assess it. It really happened. 2010, nobody knew how to assess it. We had lots. You had it all over America. Thousands of empty lots, thousands of empty houses. You have thousands of houses sitting on the market that had loans against them so high that the assessments were so high. But then you have a guy trying to sell his house, and he's had to sell his house for $45,000 just to get out of town. But the other houses are on the tax roll at $200,000. Oh my God, did he crash the market? How do you stabilize it? Yes, it was a mess. A mess. So not going into too many details, there were some things that the state, several states did this, Georgia did this, to try to give counties forgiveness in being out of what they call ratio, okay? Being out of ratio. I think that's the 34 to 36% ratio. Too deep of a conversation, but let's move along. So they gave counties a certain amount of years and a certain amount of time to get their ratios correct and to get their assessments correct. So in the past couple years, your counties have gone out and they've bought a whole fleet. We'll fix this, is what they said. They bought a whole fleet of vehicles and they upped assessor budgets in your county and they hired people because they got letters. I did this story. I'm going to bring this video back Monday. I'll find it. I did this story. Here is the Gilmer County. Find out how many counties in the state of Georgia went from 2015 to 16 received this letter. Okay? Department of Revenue, Local Government Services Division. Services. Oh, can't be all that bad. 2013 Gilmer County Tax Digest consent order. This consent order embodies the agreement between the Revenue Commissioner of the state of Georgia and Gilmer County Board of Commissioners. On December 15, 2015, the commissioner entered an order regarding the 2013 Gilmer Tax Digest conditionally approving the 2013 digest, imposed penalties of $171,415. So the Department of Revenue of the state of Georgia, or our County Services Division, was ready to penalize Gilmer County in 2013 $171,414. But then the second page has but here's a way you can get out of it. I swear to God. No difference. No difference whatsoever. Please listen. The government agencies, right, your EPA, they go out and they find a company, a corporation, and they find a violation, right? Just look this up. Look this up. You'll know I'm telling the truth, okay? They find a violation, and they go to the corporate office and they say, you know, Mr. Corporation, we have found you in violation of this, this, and this. Well, we can fine you $90 million, or you can make a $30 million contribution to this certain fund. How is that paralleled? Because what I always will do is tell you from the government all the way down to the local county to where you sit, they go all the way in and reach right into your never could happen here life in your rural county of America on a daily basis. And it's not till you go to the post office and pull out the new tax appraisal that you freak out and say, what the hell? I was sitting in a house for a year. I didn't do anything. I didn't even paint the front porch that my wife asked me to paint 20 times. But somehow, while I was sitting here, thankfully, I should be happy the value of my house is up 50 grand. Huh. Seems like just yesterday I didn't feel 50 grand more value in my house, but now I appreciate it much more in an afternoon. Well, you just don't know how that works. Yes, I do. So what happened? Excuse my outburst. What happened? $171,000 fine, but if you go buy a fleet of vehicles and you go reassess the entire county and you bring your assessments up, we can let that 171 slide. Why can they let it slide? Why can that blackmail let it slide? Well, we can let it slide for a good reason is you are going to reappraise the county. You're going to get the county up X percent. And you're going to keep the millage rates where it's at. You're going to bring in more revenue, which means more revenue to us. Everybody's happy because we're getting more money from your pocket. So, okay. Now, when I originally did this story, I'm going to say Walker County. I don't remember, but some of you do. I talked to 4 counties that received this same letter. Fannin County received this same letter. That's right. The last property tax meeting in Fannin County, the place was full. You know who it was full of? Senior citizens. It was full of senior citizens saying, I'm on a fixed income. It was full of senior citizens saying, I don't understand. I've lived in this same house for 72 years, 58 years. One lady, 50-something years. And I haven't done nothing. I even, you know, my chicken coop's the same chicken coop for 35 years. That's true, right? I don't understand why my taxes, I can't afford it. I'm on Social Security. No, hell no. The liberal media could do stories on how Trump wants to kick senior citizens off health care. But you take a room full of 40 people that are, for the most part, senior citizens saying, I'm on a fixed income and I can't afford these taxes. What happened? That's in Fannin County, right? What they get? They got a letter. They were told if you don't come through and reassess your county and get your assessment straight. But here's how you can do it. You can buy a fleet of cars, go reassess everything, bring all the values up. Now I'm going somewhere with this. Let me just read. If you would Google this right now, maybe I don't know how. DeKalb County, this is what pops up. DeKalb County residents' property assessments rise in 2016. Gwinnett tax assessor, property values going up, AJC. Property tax, real and personal property tax, Department of Revenue. Surging DeKalb property tax values cause higher taxes. Metro Atlanta tax assessments jump, giving residents a jolt. Let's see. Residents express shock, dismay at tax assessments. Shock and dismay. See what that is? That's called mailbox shock and dismay. Just like that healthcare premiums, right? Better listen. Taxes on the rise more than 50% for some Fulton County homeowners. I could go on and on and on. Now, I did this story. I'm going to come back to it on Monday. But here's the question I want you to ask. All right? Let me settle down because I want to give you the facts on this. Keep in mind, your tax assessors, this is what may anger you, but it's not them, it's how the system's set up. So don't go take it out on the person in the office, okay? But keep in mind, your tax assessors are appointed. Let me give you the facts. In the state of Georgia, your tax assessors are appointed. You have a chief appraiser, level 4, level 5 chief appraiser. You have a board, a tax board. The tax board is appointed by your commissioners, your county commissioners. Your county commissioners cannot go tell the tax assessors how to do their job or the board. They cannot, just like Donald Trump couldn't tell James Comey, they cannot do that. The tax assessor's office is inadvertently run by the Department of Revenue in the state of Georgia. You don't have a beholden tax assessor's office to anybody in your county. Truthfully, the only ones they're beholden to are the Department of Revenue in the down in Atlanta, your state Department of Revenue. That being said, yes, you do have unelected people that have the authority to assess your property and determine what it's worth that could reflect on your taxes, your property taxes. Now, keep in mind how I said that could reflect on your property taxes. The tax assessor's office has no taxing authority. You need to understand that. They have no taxing authority. Now, I'm going to use the word cahoots. Not that I really know it, but it's like they're in cahoots. They go raise the assessment when you are paying a millage rate, okay? What is the millage rate? The millage rate is the amount per thousand used to calculate taxes on property. Millage rates are most often found in personal property taxes, where the expressed millage rate is multiplied by the total taxable value of your property to arrive at the property tax due. So what happens if your house is $100,000 and then the county sets a millage rate that determines what your property tax is for that year? Very simple. Okay? If the county goes out, the assessors, they have no taxing authority. They're not really raising your taxes, but they know they're raising your property value, and it's now $150,000 value. Okay? They've raised the value, right? The millage rate stays the same. So let's just say the millage rate is 20. It stays the same. Your property taxes go up to equal the appraisal. All right? So here's what I'm saying. What has to happen, for example, if you paid $1,000 last year and you think you should only pay $1,000 this year, which my opinion is I agree with, the appraisal's up, then what has to happen to get to that $1,000 and not pay $1,500? Okay? Your commissioners have to roll back the millage rate. So you still pay the $1,000. So instead of 20, your mills are 15 or something, just using numbers. So if you go to your appraisers, and you have three options in the state of Georgia. You could file an appeal with the appraisers, the Board of Assessors. You can file the appeal with them. They can make a decision, okay? If you're not happy with the decision, your county has what's called a Board of Equalization. It's a Board of Equalization. It's a whole different board. I know you love the layers of government. You then file your opposition to your property assessment to the Board of Equalization. Okay? So you go in there and another board decides if they think it's fair or not. If you don't get the answer you're requesting there, you have the right to take them to Superior Court. Guess what? Your time off work your time preparing, your time going in, and your cost out of your pocket to discuss an appraisal on how they're going to increase your taxes. So are you going to ask? I'm going to give it to you real simple, and we're going to end this so I can go to my last segment. This is property tax, and we're going to do more on this next week. Property tax assessment, you can look at it two ways. You're living in a $100,000 home, all right? And they came around, reassessed your house, and it's now $150,000, right? You can say, I feel good. I can sell my home for $150,000. Always remember, your home is only worth what somebody will give you. Forget what they tell you it's worth on a piece of paper. That's all it's worth, what somebody will give you. So your property tax assessment, it's up $50,000. So you could take the point of, hey, I like that. My property, my house is worth another $50,000. That could feel good in one way. But then, let's say the county says, this is a small county, that they need $20 million a year to operate, okay? And you've accepted that one way or the other, not arguing that fact. And the county needs $20 million a year to operate, okay? Well, if you leave the assessment here and you leave the millage rate here, then the county's going to bring in $22.5 million, right? And then you'll have some commissioners, not naming any right now, you'll have some commissioners that have the audacity to say, I didn't raise your taxes. Oh, no, we left the millage rate the same. You'll love that. We left the millage rate the same. We didn't do nothing. We left it alone. They are the only taxing authority, your commissioners, not even your Board of Education. We'll argue that one later if you want. Board of Education sets a millage rate, but they are not the taxing authority. The only authority in your county in the state of Georgia that can direct your tax commissioner to collect taxes is your Board of Commissioners. Period. End of story. So, if the county only needed $20 million to operate last year, then roll back the millage rate so it equals what they had last year and keep your assessment up. It's up to you. I call it mailbox shock. And people are going through the roof now looking at these assessments saying, what in the world happened? I'm your host, BKP. I know we only got 10 minutes. I do want to take like a 3-minute break, regroup. We have found the source that keeps leaking everything to the credible media, okay? We're going to come back. Take us to a brief break.